Everyone, welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. I hope you all are doing well. To be honest, folks, that was a very stressful hour and a half. I was hearing thunder. I could see off in the distance that it was raining, that it was coming this way. So I had to hustle. I hustled up this mountain, hustled to set up this tarp. But good news, the tarp has been set up. It's raining. I'm completely dry. Life is good. I certainly was not avoiding you all, not ignoring you all. I just had to hustle, I had to go. Unfortunately, I really wasn't able to film the hike up here. It was gorgeous, it really was. The views were incredible, the fog, the clouds coming in, but there was simply no time. This was one of those things where it was like all or nothing. I made the decision to haul up this mountain, not to put my rain gear on, and luckily it paid off. It was very, very close though. Everybody, I made the right call about this one. I just barely avoided a big rain shower. Oh yeah, that is nice. So you may have noticed that I took a guy line and I tied it to a rock there and then pulled the tarp back. That's because the wall of this tarp really wasn't where I wanted it to be. It was a little bit too close to my chair here. So that was a simple solution. As you spend more and more time using tarps, you'll discover that oftentimes the perfect setup does not exist. And this is a prime example of that. The setup is good, but it's not great. In this case, I needed a little bit more space. And because I was able to pull that wall back, I now have it. Anyways, everybody, it's still raining. It is super light. But without a doubt, that was a good downpour that lasted roughly 20 minutes. I really did get here in the nick of time. 1 minute would have made all of the difference in the world. It was a good decision on my part to go as fast as possible not to film, but I can't take all of the credit. Part of it was luck. I've heard some people say that they don't believe in luck, but when it comes to the outdoors, luck plays a major factor. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. The thing is, you have to be prepared. Be prepared to handle the conditions no matter what comes your way. It's just like what I did here with the tarp. I adapted it. You have to be adaptable when it comes to the outdoors. If you could be adaptable, things are going to go much smoother for you when you go into the forest, when you go into nature. For this trip, I'm sure you noticed that I've carried some additional weight with me. So I have a table, I have a chair, I have a really nice setup for this adventure. And that's because the hiking for this trip wasn't that long. I've hiked in maybe 4 miles, something like that. Not all that much. So anytime that I'm hiking in for a shorter distance, I tend to carry more weight. In other words, I have more luxuries with me. So in this case, I have a nice comfortable chair, I have a table that I can, cook on, I can put my coffee on, and so on. This is the Outdoor Gear Reviews version of glamping. My friends, it is coffee time. Cheers to you all. Let's see how it is. It's good, as always. I honestly don't care about the coffee. I could drink mud and be happy. Now, I'll tell you what, I may have to do some configuring here with this tarp and move this wall back just a little bit. The reason for that is pretty simple. All of a sudden, it's gotten really, really windy. Outside of the forest here, I would say 15 miles an hour steady, gusts up to 25. It's not raining anymore. It's still like dripping off the trees, but it's not raining. The chance of rain today was like 40%, so it wasn't really all that high. But obviously, it has rained, and more rain could be on the way. I simply don't know. The one thing that I will say about having the tarp closer to the ground like I do now, it's blocking a lot of that wind, and it's actually a good thing because that wind is rather cold. It's not a hot day by any means. In fact, I'm almost ready for a sweater. I was getting chilly, so I decided to put my jacket on. So I stepped out from underneath the tarp, and the cold raindrops, the water drops were falling on me. And it got me to thinking about fall's coming in, winter's coming in, and how I really need to be a whole lot more careful when it comes to getting wet. For an example, setting up the camera, running through the rain, so on and so forth. As the temperatures are dropping, like today it's 60 degrees, tonight it's going to be in the 40s. I have to be so much more careful. I really do have to consider that like every cold raindrop is felt so much more. It has such a greater impact. Then you have to factor in the wind. As fall comes on, the winds pick up and it continues all throughout winter. So getting wet, factor in the wind, the colder temperatures, that's a recipe for hypothermia. So as the seasons change, you have to adapt to it. Just like I was talking about with this tarp, and this morning as I was hiking up this mountain, I had to adapt to the changing conditions. It looks like the sun is coming out. So I think I'll go ahead, finish up the coffee, set up my tent here someplace. Maybe over there, maybe over here. It is update time. It is now 3 o'clock and I began this adventure around 11 o'clock this morning. I just got the tent set up. That is the Winterial Bivy tent. I have not tested this out before. This is the first time. As far as the conditions go, they have been changing rapidly. I mean, at 1 second the sun will be out. The next second it'll be foggy. Then the fog lifts. It's very, very fast. And that tells me that there's a lot of chaos in the atmosphere, which translates to possible thunderstorms. So far, I have been hearing some thunder, but it is way, way off somewhere. When you're on top of a mountain like I am, you can hear thunder for dozens and dozens of miles away. And basically that means just because I can hear thunder doesn't mean that I'm about to get hit by a thunderstorm, or that one is even close or nearby. But it does tell me that I need to be careful. talk about chaotic weather. 5 minutes ago, it was foggy. Now, it's sunny. Love it. I have been hearing some thunder towards the northeast going away from us. It's weather like this that really leaves me stumped. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have a fire tonight, but I don't want to take the time, gather wood, if it's going to rain later. And the odds are it's going to rain. It's one of those things where I'm really, really torn. Not entirely sure what to do as far as, gathering firewood and whatnot. My gut feeling says do not gather firewood. So I'm gonna take a chance, trust it. You never know. It may be beautiful for the rest of the day, but then again, it may rain later on, so we'll see. At the same time, we know for certain everything in the forest is soaking wet, so that is something else to consider. When you live in an environment that's as wet as this, you don't always have a fire. It's just not something that you do because, well, the amount of work that it takes to get that fire going can be incredible. The amount of resources that it takes to get a fire going. So we would call a fire here a luxury. It's something that it's nice to have, but you're not guaranteed a fire. That's pretty good. But still, it's going away from us. When I said things were changing quickly, I meant it. Nice. 5 minutes have passed, it's now dark, and it's raining. I thought for certain the sun was going to come out. But nope. We're back up here in the rain. With the rain here, it is very, very light. Like more than anything, with us being in the forest, it's like a sprinkle. At the same time, the forest itself is just beautiful. We have those fall colors, it's foggy, it's beautiful. For now, because it's raining, there's really nothing to do other than just sit underneath the tarp. So I guess that's what I'll do. Sit here, listen to the wind, listen to the rain. That may possibly sound boring, but I can tell you all, it's not. It's the highlight of my entire week. Nothing is better than sitting underneath the tarp, listening to the rain, just relaxing and thinking. Now it's raining, everybody. So far, for the most part, it's been fairly light today, but now it's actually coming down. At the same time, it's pretty dark too, especially for it only being about 5:30. For dinner tonight, I am basically having ramen noodles along with some wild salmon. I'm going to mix the two together, and it should be incredible. Towards the east, my friends, there is a strong thunderstorm. I'm hearing lots and lots of thunder. By the way, everyone, when it comes to my adventures, my overnight trips, I always bring with me at least 3 liters of water. That pretty much covers me for an overnight trip. Just in case you're wondering how much water I bring with me, I don't usually pull it all out at one time. I just go through the bottles, switch them up like this. Right now I'm on my 2nd liter, and by morning I'll be on my 3rd. Alright everyone, let's give this a shot. Korean barbecue with salmon. It smells really good. Oh yeah, that is freaking awesome right there. That is incredibly good. If you can find one of these, I highly recommend it. And the salmon is good too, really good. I want to say that a viewer sent me the salmon, so to the viewer who sent this in, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It's raining pretty good right now. We've had one clap of thunder that was rather close. It was pretty much like right overhead. I couldn't exactly tell where it struck at. Before I came out here, I was talking to my son. Recently, my son had his birthday, 21 years old. How about that? It's amazing to me to think that my daughter, she's 22, and my son is 21. Everybody, that's crazy. Where have the years gone? You know what I mean? I'm so glad to be done raising kids in my mid-40s instead of like starting over right now. I know so many people who are my age or even a little bit older who are having kids. For an example, Susan's brother. He's a few years older than me, maybe 2 years, something like that. He just had a kid not too long ago. And all I could think of is like, man, you're tired now. Just wait. Are you ready to be in your mid-60s when that kid moves out of the house? Whew. Susie and I have inside jokes about Susan's brother, about how old he is and how he's just basically getting started with kids. He's always talking about how tired he is and whatnot. He doesn't even know what's coming, right? The other day I received an email from a viewer who was asking how I fit so much gear inside of small backpacks like I do. And that confused me a little bit because like these backpacks that I carry, they're not really that small. It's one of those things where I think the backpack looks small on me, but in truth it's not. There's times though where I have minimal loadouts, but most of the time that's not the case. We are officially surrounded by storms at the moment. Anyways, what was I saying? I don't remember. Oh yeah, most of the time I have quite a bit of gear with me, and generally the weight loadout is between like 25 to 35 pounds, something like that. Well everyone, evening has come. It's almost dark out. It's about time to turn in. I was really hoping to have a fire tonight. In fact, I gotta be honest, this entire trip was not what I planned. I wanted to have a fire tonight, but it wasn't in the cards. That's okay though. This is such a cool place. We're up here in the fog and you can see it just billowing in. It's neat. I just noticed, but the wind has really slacked off. I mean, there's a slight breeze, but it's not windy like it was before. I don't know if we're gonna get any more rain tonight or not. Unfortunately, I don't have any service here, so I can't check it. All I know is that it's 8 o'clock. There's absolutely nothing to do, so I'm going to bed. I will say goodnight now. There's no way that I can get inside of the tent and film as well because that tent is so low to the ground. It's a very low profile tent. So once I get inside of that tent, there's no real room to move around or even to hold a camera. So everyone, I will see you all in the morning. Good night for now. I'm interested to see if it's going to rain anymore or if it's just going to do this, be foggy and drip. I don't know. Folks, we'll talk in the morning. Good night for now. My friends, good morning, good morning. Time-wise, it is 8 o'clock. Temperature-wise, it's in the 50s. Not entirely sure what it is, but it's cool. It is very wet, as you all can see and hear. It was a good night. I slept good inside of the Winterial tent, with one exception. When I sealed the tent up 100%, it was so hot in that tent because like there's no airflow, none at all. So I ended up opening up the door and leaving it open all night long, which meant like rain was dripping into the tent all night long. So like half of the tent is soaking wet, the other half is dry, but I stayed comfortable that way. All in all, it was a really good night, folks. Slept good. Cheers, my friends, cheers. It's coffee time. That is nice. For breakfast, I have something called Abe's Mom's gluten-free muffin. One big coffee cake muffin. That sounds healthy. What do you all think? Now that it's cooling down, I'm not sure if I'm ready. I can feel that cold air just kind of seeping into my bones. I guess I better get ready. Like today, this morning, it's in the 50s. I think it's tomorrow, it's supposed to be about 40 degrees. We're getting very close to freezing, folks. That, my friends, is right around the corner. This is absolutely awesome. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe a viewer sent this in, I'm not sure. If so, thank you so much. But that is really, really good. With it being gluten-free, it's almost like cornbread, but still, it's really, really good. You know, everybody, when it comes to camping, backpacking and camping and whatnot, my least favorite part to the entire thing is breaking down camp in the morning. That's why, as soon as I wake up, before I get out of the tent, I pack up my pillow, my sleeping bag, and my sleeping pad. Instead of breaking everything down at once, just kind of do it in chunks and pieces. It helps. Maybe it's because most of the time everything's soaking wet, your hands are getting cold, you know, stuff like that. Susie and I literally, and I do mean literally, respond to over 1,000 emails and messages per week. People write in with questions about all sorts of things. You have some who are asking about gear, some that are looking for techniques to make their lives easier. Susie and I, we love to help. So if you have a question, shoot us an email. I do ask you all this. It's got to be quick and to the point, you know what I mean? Because we're trying to help so many on such a large scale, it's got to be quick and it's got to be precise. I want to say this one more time. Susie and I, we do not mind helping out. We're here to help out. But let's say that you have a question that's going to take more time to address than something rather simple. That's where being a Patreon member or a YouTube member really comes in handy, because we are there to answer questions, to help you find the right gear, and so on. It's a benefit for supporting the channel. Man, that was good. That was a fantastic piece of cake. And that is exactly what it was. It was a piece of cake. I normally do not eat cake for breakfast. I promise. Generally, my diet is pretty good. Our rule of thumb is that if we can make it, we can eat it. That sort of thing. Lots of vegetables, lean proteins, a lot of lean protein. It's awful. Over the last year, I bulked up quite a bit. I went from roughly like 140, 145 up to like 180. Got huge, but that was something I could not keep up. First off, I could not eat that much food all the time. I don't want to eat that much food. It's too expensive. Plus, working out that much is really difficult. So I've dropped down to, let's see, about 165. So I went up to 180, I'm at 165 now, and that seems to be a pretty comfortable spot. I work out just about every single day, and I alternate. 30 minutes of weights, the next day I'll do about 30 to an hour of walking or running, something like that. Sometimes I'll do weights and running, it just depends on time, you know what I mean? It's really funny reading the comments and videos. There's always someone who thinks that just because like you ate a piece of cake for breakfast one morning, that you eat cake for breakfast every single morning. Or like for an example, a buddy of mine, he was making hot dogs and somebody was giving him shit about it. Basically saying like he must eat hot dogs like every single night. All I could do is laugh about it. I don't know where that thinking comes from. It's pretty wild, but it's funny. Yeah, when you're out camping, it's all about making your life as easy as possible. I don't know many people who are coming out here and like making a salad, who are like, you know, boiling up some carrots and Brussels sprouts or something. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it ever. When I come out to the forest, I want it to be nice and easy. Unless I'm doing some sort of like truck camp, then I'm going to cook good. But outside of that, I want it to be very, very easy. Hot dogs every night. It's really funny. As I was laying inside of the tent last night, I was reading an article about the new COVID variant that's going around. And it sounds like it's no big deal, really. Same old stuff, different day, that's it. But I was thinking about the last time that I was sick. And that was like 2 years ago when I had COVID. Prior to that, it might have been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years since I even had a cold. I have to wonder whether or not that's going to change in about 2 weeks. In about 2 weeks' time, Susie and I, we have to go down to Florida for a personal matter, family stuff. Anyway, we're about to fly down there. We're going to spend, I don't remember if it's 3 or 4 days down there, something like that. Don't tell Susie this, but I purchased her some tickets for Universal Studios to the Horror Nights thing. So while we're down there, we're going to escape and spend a night at the Universal Studios to do that. I guess they have like a whole bunch of haunted houses or something or other. To be honest, don't tell Susie this either, but I don't like rides. I don't like big amusement parks or anything like that. I'm not a people person, so like this is purely for her. I'm doing this for her. So we'll go to that. I don't remember what they said the 10 houses were. Exorcist something or other. The Last of Us, which is based upon the video game. That will be pretty cool, I'm sure. I actually played the first Last of Us game, not the second one. I heard it was pretty terrible. I also heard that it didn't make much sense, but I don't know. I can see that the sun is beginning to burn off some of this fog, so it's time for me to pack up. It's time to wrap up this adventure. So I'll finish this up, pack up, and I will see you all when I'm ready to go. Well, my friends, this adventure is coming to an end. I have everything packed up. It's still foggy, still rainy, it's dripping. This has been a fantastic trip. Before you go, hit the like button. It does help a lot. If you want to support the channel, you can. Patreon, YouTube. You could join the Wolf Pack. And lastly, make sure to check out my second YouTube channel, A Quiet Place Adventures. Every single week, a brand new adventure. Adventures that are quite a bit different than those that you will find on this channel. Everyone, be safe out there. Take care. Strength and honor.